right, welcome to Table Talk on Labor Front. My name is Glenn Coggy. I am the former president of UAW Local 2250, and we changed things up a little bit tonight. We have a roundtable forum with John Guinan, Tony Candela, and Rich Boyer. John is running for president of the International Union. Tony is going to be his right-hand man, and Rich Boyer is running for vice president of the Stellantis division, formerly known as Chrysler, of the United Auto Workers. And we're going to have some questions and answers this evening, but we want to get started off by talking to John a little bit about why he's running, and then we'll jump right into the questions. John, what do you think? Why are you running?
Okay, thank you for having me, Glenn. I appreciate it. The question, why am I running? The question now is if I'm going to be able to run. The International Board and President Ray Curry has taken the position that retirees are not eligible to run for a board position. We have read his interpretation of the Constitution, and we're in total disagreement with it. We have filed an appeal to the president's office stating why we feel we are eligible to run. Ray Curry's reasons for disqualifying or trying to disqualify retirees from running, in his decision that he made, he said that the federal laws was part of the reasons that retirees were not eligible to run. Not being able to answer the question about federal laws, we seek some legal advice from a labor attorney in regards to were we in violation if retired wanted to run for a position on IAB board. Contrary to what Ray Curry said, the federal law says everything but that. The federal law only restricts criminals from holding positions. The qualifier was being members in good standing would be eligible for that. And it required candidates to be, like I said, members in good standing. And beyond that restriction, the Department of Labor disfavored any type of restrictions on candidacies of retirees running for IAB positions. And that was identified in our appeal. So to the contrary, what Ray Curry said, everything he said was not true. There is no federal laws that prohibit retirees running for IAB positions. The American Postal Workers Union and the Communication Workers of America, the Department of Labor is well aware of this practice. They have not stopped it. So it's clearly the DOL does not have a problem with retirees holding union office. So far as that particular accusation that Curry made in his decision is totally false, and there's no truth or merit to it. Curry went on to go beyond that by indicating that under Article 6, Section 19, that also would prohibit retirees from running. And what he basically was trying to say, which makes no sense whatsoever, there is an article that says under 19.3 in regards to voting on ratification contracts, it says retirees are not eligible to do that. It identifies in Section 51 and 5 that retirees are not entitled to vote on a strike or vote to discontinue a strike. And under 45.2, there's a section under Article 45, Section 2 about running for stewards or committeemen. Them are the only restrictions that they have placed on retirees that they are not or cannot participate under the Constitution. Nothing there in the Constitution says that a retiree cannot run for an IAB board position. Curry went on to say after that, that the position would disqualify because they had to handle grievances and they had to be part of, had to know some knowledge of collective bargaining. I think that statement there was ludicrous for the simple reason I spent 13 years on the shop floor in my plant. I spent 16 years as an international representative. I've probably handled more grievances, and I say 1 year, and Curry's probably handled in his lifetime as a UAW member. Ray Curry was a financial secretary. Financial secretaries don't, they do not write grievances. They do not settle grievances. They do not normally sit on any kind of bargaining whatsoever in their own local union. So trying to indicate that myself and there's another individual that's retired, not being qualified in them areas is totally false. So to try to end this, naturally there were some appeals sent to the monitor, and we were hoping for him to make a decision in our favor, but unfortunately he got to the point where he wouldn't decide. So all he did was kick the can over to Ray Curry and the board. And I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out when you kick it to Ray Curry and the board what kind of decision you were going to get about retirees. Just to clear up one thing on this, and I don't want to make it complicated. Under Article 619, it says, and I'll read it because I don't know it by heart, all members in good standing who is retired shall be entitled to a retiree membership status, which, without being required to pay membership dues during the period of such retirement, shall entitle her or him to all the privileges of a membership, except for them articles that I identify, which no way, shape, or whatever disqualifies us from running. Now, I don't know, there's nothing ambiguous about this language. I mean, it's very clear. I don't understand why the monitor would flip it to the board when he knows pretty much what their decision is going to be. If Ray Curry can eliminate 2 retirees from running for board positions that could possibly take him out of office, his only alternative is, whether it's in the Constitution or not, he'll invent an interpretation and disqualifies. So that's where it is right now. But Ray Curry might not realize it's not over with now. The Constitution gives us the right through the membership by electing delegates coming to this convention to bring a resolution to the floor about retirees, making retirees eligible to run for the IAB board position. There's nothing they can do about it if we have the votes from the delegates. So that's what we're attempting to do. I know of nobody that's involved in this race, whether it's the UAWD, whether it's myself, whether it's Jim Coakley, who is retired, that's running, or anybody that's not in support of retirees running for an IEB position. Ray Curry has, I think, tried to take this union someplace that it's never been before. You know, you might steal their dues money and you might negotiate shitty contracts, but now you want to take their choice away of who they can vote for to represent them across the bargaining table. The direct elections that won on the 1M, 1V was an indication that this union wanted to change. And unfortunately, the board has not been able to inhale that yet. This membership and the delegates are going to have to be the savior of this union. We cannot continue to go this way. So I only can say to the delegates that are running in the membership that will vote delegates in, that I would emphasize them very strongly that they support retirees having a right to run for an IEB board position. Because like I said, I know none of the candidates that are running are opposed to it. The only people I know is the board, and we all know why that is. So
Right.
that's where we are. That's where we are basically with our appeal, where we stand right now. Well,
Right.
we will have to wait till the convention for that decision to be made.
Well, it's unfortunate that Mr. Curry has made the decision to attempt to prevent retirees from running or continuing to participate in this international union. The union was built on their backs, and if anybody has a right to participate, share their knowledge and experience, it would be the retirees. So, you brought up where Ray Curry was taking this union. I know a lot of the people out there wanting to know, what is your take on the future of the UAW? What are your plans? Right now, what is your thoughts on the future of this union?
Well, let me say this. It's kind of sad to say this. I've been a union official representing people for 30 years, 16 years on staff, 8 years as an ADAA in the top A in the correction department. Had an opportunity to sit down and be involved in 11 national negotiations. And always respected the membership, and you have to be a leader to make this union work. We do not have people as of today that knows how to negotiate contracts. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm trying to be truthful.
I think the recent contracts that we've seen are vindicative of the fact that we've lost good negotiators. So,
well, the only way, I've sat down hours and hours and hours since I decided to take on the task of running for president of UAW, and a lot of people called me that respected me, and a lot of them people was in negotiations with me. You don't go to a bargaining table 11 times and get contracts ratified by 85% if you don't know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. And John Guinan doesn't do it all by himself. So let's make sure we understand that. You got to have very good people with you when you go in to negotiate. People that care, people that are prepared, and people that want to be able to come out with their heads high because they did a job for this membership. I mean, look what's going on in this union. I mean, 3 or 4 months ago, Volvo turned down an agreement by 90%. You leave there, you go to John Deere, they turned it down by 90%. Look where we are today. We got Case out. They don't know where they're at. You got Detroit Diesel now turned down a contract 79%. I mean, we don't even get to the membership and even come close to what their needs are. We cannot negotiate wages back in the 80s and 90s no more. That's not who we are. That's not who our membership are. They know that they can't raise families on 3% raises. They know they can't raise families without COLA. You can't have retirees and future retirees never being mentioned at the bargaining table. That is not what we've been about. I reviewed every contract after 1999 to 2003. And again, I'm not trying to point fingers, but when we hit the 2007 agreement, this union took a big slide and was going right downhill. We took 2-tier, we took no GWIs. We did nothing for future retirees or current retirees. And then 2 years later, we went into a concessionary agreement and they just stripped us. They took COLA away from us. We have not had a raise for future retires or retires for over 12 to 13 years.
Right.
We have not had COLA. And what do? We sit back and let them institute a tier structure that nobody can hardly survive on and raise a family. I
Not
mean,
only-
15, go ahead,
ahead.
Ben, I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. What I was going to say is not only have we taken so many concessions and allowed the tier system and things like that, we have done that while the big three are making record or near record profits every year since they came out of bankruptcy. And they would never survive bankruptcy without our concessions. But now that they're making record profits, we should be doing everything we can to get them to get back, get back what we gave up.
Well, the thing about the concessionary package, anybody that has or knows anything about negotiated contract, here's what you got to remember about the automobile industry, and most of us don't know about it because we lived in it. I mean, I spent 37 years before I retired. There's going to be times when the industry is going to go into a recession. We realize that. I mean, we had a recession in 79 and 80 for Chrysler and GM. That's when Doug Fraser was there. And we fought our way through the recession. And then after that, it took a period of time, but we regained what we lost and we got back on our feet again. But when you go into a concessionary type agreement, there's got to be a recovery language that makes it come back. You don't go into a concessionary agreement and give it all away and walk out the door, and 14 years later, they still have forgot you saved them. That is not what negotiations is about. Negotiations is about one thing. You want to save a company because you got a membership and you have to save them. But you also do the second thing to it. You go back and get it when they recover. Lattice made $15 billion last year. When I negotiated from Chrysler Contracts, they were happy when they made millions, not billions. Did they offer anything back across the table to us? No. And I said this yesterday when we talked to our team, and I'll say it again. I don't blame the company for not giving us any money. I've never walked into negotiations in my life where they wanted to give me money. You have to go in and you have to take it. They don't give the shit to you. You got to take it. And you got to tell them why you're there, because I'm the one that saved you when you needed us. I'm the one that paid the bills. Our membership paid your bills. Think of what COLA was in 2009 to today. If you put an actuary and drew them figures up, you'd be shocked. No liability in defined pensions no more. No liability in insurance when they retire. No COLA. No future retirement pension, and no enhanced inflationary for retirees, and no Christmas bonus. Let me ask the question, what the hell more could you give up? Would there have been anything left except maybe your car and your house? I mean, this is how ridiculous this is going. The question is, when are we going to find somebody to stop the bleeding? You can only suck so much blood out of a membership, you know what I mean? This union is going to turn into a chaos. You can't do what you're doing to case workers today. You can't do what you're doing to Detroit diesel engine today. You can't do it to nobody. They're in a union. What do you read? What do you read on Facebook? That case workers in non-union plants make $5.50 more than in the union plants. If I was in the International Union today, I'd go hide somewhere. I'd be ashamed of myself.
No, I don't think you would hide. I think you'd stand up and fight for the members. That's why I'm here. We were talking about Detroit Diesel, and they did reject that contract by 79%. and I don't know how much time you've had to look at the contract or review what the proposals were, but do you have an idea of what was so bad in that contract that it was rejected 79%? And I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You've negotiated 11 contracts. The 79% rejection of Detroit Diesel is worse than that's a higher percentage of rejection than the contract's acceptance that you negotiated.
Well, there's one thing I say in the Tony Candela, who's a right-hand man to me and heads up the campaign. Tony Candela was in the 1990 negotiations on the bargaining committee. He knows how I operate. You don't go into a set of negotiations unless you know what the membership wants. You got to meet their needs. If they bring up stuff that's not reachable, you look them in the face and you tell them the truth and explain why. That's what your job is. You cannot sit at a bargaining table and be sucked in by these companies telling you what great people they are and how your membership doesn't need all this. You can't get caught up in that kind of stuff. See, there's one thing you got to remember. A question was asked me one time why I am so hard when I was in Chrysler in regards to representing our local unions. The answer is quite obvious. They pay me. They paid my wages. I work as an international rep and you forget who's paying you, and you know what? You don't belong there. No different if you're a company person. You're going to do your very best to perform so you go up the ladder. My job was, I'm addicted to a membership and I love negotiating contracts for them. But when I do them, I want to be able to be a person that can look at them and say, I hope that this was good enough. In most cases, it was. And it was an honor to have that right. Today, I don't know where we're at.
Right. Yeah, it's not good. But that's what I can tell you, actually being in the plant and going through the 40-day strike with General Motors and seeing what we struck for and what we got, the result of that 40-day strike, it was disappointing to say the least. I mean, our members sacrificed for 40 days. You've been through strikes, you've walked members out to get a better contract. If you're going to walk out, you got to make sure you get what you walked out for. And I don't think anybody would look at this GM agreement and say that it was worth the 40 days.
Well, negotiating contracts, my last objective is always to go on strike. You don't ever want to go on strike, but sometimes you don't have a choice. If they're not going to address the issue of what the membership needs, then you don't have an alternative. But I think the key to it is you got to be able to know your membership in regards, are they going to support what you're doing? I mean, this position we're in the union right now is, I don't know if anybody support us. Because after they support us, like you said, we go out for 40 days and we come back and nothing's changed. People have asked me, if you were there today, John, what would you do? It's a very difficult question to answer, and I don't know if I could. The first thing I do is get rid of all the son bitches that don't know how to negotiate. I got to find people that's got some heart. I got to find people that want to win, not people that just want to go through the motions and run out and tell the membership and then get embarrassed with the turn down of the contracts. I've never found a membership that wouldn't support me when I talk to them. I mean, I use the story of Freightliner over and over again, where they didn't even like us when we got there, but when we left, they loved us. But the membership is who I talk to. They understood where we're at. I told them this company's not offering you nothing. And we were there for 4 weeks and not a penny was offered across the table. And I told them, we got to make some choices. And they said, do what you got to do, John. I said, well, I'm going to strike them. And they stood up and cheered, said, do it. That's when the company realized that, you know what? This membership is going to support this union. They're going to shut us down. Fortunately, the strike only lasted 4 days as a result. But you gotta remember what you're there for. I spent 10 years on the assembly line. I know what it's like to work on an assembly line. I know what it's like. I come out of an assembly plant. Tony Candela, he come out of assembly plant. He was president of the local union. Rich Boyer, the person we have elected to run for vice president, he got picked for a reason. He believes in the membership. He knows the membership and he knows their needs. And he's willing to do everything in his power to make it change from where it is today. And that's why he's there. And that's why we asked him to be part of our team. And we were honored to get him. But these are the kind of people we're looking at. And I got to be honest with you, they're not easy to find. We got people now that are leery to even supporting us because the board's got us tied up in whether or not we can run. A lot of people are convinced we can't run. We try to tell them we can run. We got to have the delegates to win at the convention, but we can win. But, you know, this is not an easy contest. And it's going to take a lot of hard work if we do get an opportunity to run. And we think we will, because like I said earlier, most everybody that's been involved in this race is in support of retirees running for board positions. And if we get the delegates at the convention, we can win this. And finally show this international union, you're not the bosses no more. They haven't accepted that. I know some of them. They have not accepted that through the direct elections of the 1M1V, that the membership will dictate who will represent them at the IAB board and at the bargaining table. And unfortunately, I got to say it now, this is getting to be a serious situation in this union. You can't keep going to the bargaining table and doing this until you lose them. You got to remember where we're at. We got a membership and tons of right to work states. We can't afford to lose our members. We got to go in and get contracts that they're proud of, where they can go home and look at their family and say, look, we finally got somebody that knows what we're about. And this is getting to be a very, very serious issue.
Well, John, we see places organizing and joining unions throughout the country. Starbucks most recently has had a lot of success in building their union. Amazon has won 1 or 2 elections now. We see that organizing. We see that these unions are growing. How do you think that will reflect on UAW?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they probably won't join us. By the way, our reputation has been going for the last couple of years. They're not. I'm all for everybody joining the union, provided they do what they're supposed to do, and that's try to enhance the quality of life for our membership and their families, and for our retirees. You know, some people said to me that I've had an opportunity to talk to a number of retirees. Being a retiree, I got a chance to relate to them, I guess, as good as anybody, if not better. I'm one of them. A lot of them was under the impression that they were a little scared of certain things, and rightfully so, they're retirees. They were afraid of their pension and things, and that's a serious issue, and you know, it's a serious concern. The only thing I can tell them is that I have certain priorities in my mind that if I had an opportunity to be at the table again, that I would address. And naturally, I have to be honest with them, and I told them the tier structure in the big three has to go. We got a membership that cannot survive on them type of wages. In today's world, and I don't know if the UAW understands it when they go to the table, that it costs over 300 additional dollars a month for families with the inflation rate and where it is today. $300. And we're still talking about 3%. And the majority of these plants don't have coal. I mean, how is that going to feed? How is that going to feed the family? Gas is $4 plus a gallon. And I heard him say something about at the diesel, they were offered a 3 and a 2.5 or something. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful. We work in an industrial plant. We work for corporations that are making billions of dollars. We're not flipping hamburgers at McDonald's. And somebody better understand that. You know, one of the pride of the UAW was me growing up and my father come out of a small UAW plant, was that the UAW was noted for pensions. Why did people run to the UAW? They knew at time to walk out of the plant after 30 years or what, they would have a pension and health care. Can we say that anymore?
Nope. John, you've covered a lot of ground. I kind of wanted to open the floor up and see if Rich or Tony had anything they wanted to interject. Excuse me. Rich, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to everything, and one of the things I think that everybody has to understand is the IEB board, they've lost touch with their membership. They don't even understand the fights and the struggles that are going inside the four walls of these buildings. They don't understand that it's being, the membership thinks that as of a dictatorship as opposed to a servicing department. You know, there used to be a time back in the 70s and the 80s when UAW wasn't only part of the plants, it was part of the community. You were proud to be part of a community who sponsors softball teams and baseball teams and little league and things of that nature. Now these companies don't care about the communities anymore. They'll bag up and they'll move product. They whipsaw the people against each other. Right now, you got the CEO from Solanus going from location to location, threatening to move work or not bring work into plants if you don't get your absenteeism down. You're forcing these people 7 days, 12 hours, these two-tier people, or supplementals, we'll call them, supplemental workers at $15 an hour. And once they get tired and say they need a little time off, all they do is get rid of them and go get another group. They drop down the requirements for people getting hired into the plants. They don't have to have diplomas anymore, GEDs or anything, because they consider them expendable. They consider them like Kelly girls, if you will. And until we get some respect back, and until the IEB board understands that their best interest is supposed to be the people, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. And anybody from the outside looking in is going to say exactly what John said. Why would I leave my mom and pop shop when I can work my ass off and make my own way, get paid more than the guy next to me because I kiss the right ass or because I do the right things, as opposed to the people in the plants we have now? Let me say this to you. The American public, we have been getting a bad perception for years. They say that, we're overpaid, we're fat, we're lazy, we're alcoholics, we're drug addicts. But I challenge anybody to go into one of them plants and stand on that line for 10, 12 hours a day, throwing the same repetitious things every day. And by the time you're ready to retire, your body's broke down, your shoulders are hurt, your feet are hurt, your knees are hurt, your fingers are hurt. We have to make them people somehow understand that when you're in these plants, by the time you retire, they owe these retirees. And let me ask one other question. Why is it that they have the gall to anytime they have a fight, who do they go to? They don't go to the membership because they can't get the membership anymore. They go to the retirees. Hey, we need to go to Lansing. Hey, we need to go to Washington. We need to get on a bunch of buses. They put you on a bus, they take you down there, they get you to get out there and protest, then they put you on your back on your bus, and they never once sit down and think about how do we increase their pensions? How do we ensure that they get COLA or cost of living? How do we make sure that they got good, proper health care? None of them things ever come across the board because they've been out of the plants too long, and they believe it's a dictatorship as opposed to a servicing organization. And that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to service people. We're supposed to understand the heartbeat of the people. We're supposed to be able to go to them companies and say, listen, this is what our people need and this is what our people want. And we're supposed to stand fast. And sometimes there's some pain. And the biggest hammer we have is the people. And if we're honest with them, we keep them informed, we tell them what direction we're going in, they'll follow. But you got to be honest, and you can't dictate, and you got to hit the floor, and you got to be able to take criticism because it comes along with it. You know, and that's just something I was sitting here thinking about as we were talking.
Rich, thanks. That's excellent input. You know, our nation's economy was never in the shape it's in when General Motors was the #1 private employer. Now it's Walmart or Amazon, depending on who you listen to, and the entire economy has suffered. Our buying power is down. The economic frustration that this has caused in every city or town that's lost an auto assembly plant is horrible. It's decimated some of the areas of St. Louis. We used to be #2 in manufacturing behind you guys up in Detroit. And now we went from 4 plants to 1. We need leadership that's going to fight to bring these jobs back, that's going to stand up and do everything that they can to work with us. And they're not going to be able to do that if they don't gain the confidence of their members. So I wanted to see if Tony had anything he wanted to add to it.
Oh, okay, Glenn, thank you. I have a few things to add to it. I mean, John and Rich have covered most of everything. It's just my opinion that this union has lost its vision and what they're about. They have more concerned about lining their pockets with money than worrying about this membership. When you can bring people in at $15.78 an hour, you tell me you care about the welfare of this membership? You tell me you care if this member can take care of his family? There ain't no way. No way. Inflation is at 8.3% right now. And this UAW is in negotiations with these companies looking at 3%, and in one case going to a 2.5% wage increase. What in the hell are they thinking? Where are these people? How in the hell can a man or a woman make a living what this UAW is trying to extract from these companies? It's impossible. It's a slap in the face of this membership. And I'm going to tell you something. If things don't change, if this membership does not wake up and we don't get delegates that support a retiree running at the convention, this union will no longer be in existence. It can't. These people have got to be getting fed up. And if they're not, I don't understand this membership then, because the membership I grew up with would no way, shape, or form sit back and take this. No way. I mean, we represented great people here in St. Louis, and I'm very proud of that. But no way would these people ever sit back and take the beating that they were taking in these plants. You go in and negotiate something that just happened here recently. You go in and negotiate PA days for people where they can call in, I believe. And now they say, now we're going to take away Monday or Friday, Saturdays, and Mondays from you. But in return, the union gave them TPTs used 5 days a week. How in the hell does this happen? Why should it happen? I mean, what are we about anymore? Are we a service to the company? No longer to our membership? We don't do nothing for retirees, future or present. We kick them in the ass and tell them, thanks for your time. Until we need you next time, we'll see you later. But we ain't gonna do nothing for you. We don't care if you can survive out there or not. We don't care what the price of gas is going up to, food, or anything of that nature. And it is getting old. I mean, old. And this is why John Guinan is fed up. He is going to change this. He gets to the table. He will change this. Make no mistake about it, people. He will change this. Is there going to be a fight? You damn right it's going to be a fight. These companies are not going to roll over. They've had their way for 14 years. And you, as a kid, gets his way all this amount of time. They ain't going to change. You're going to have to go in and take it. And this membership is going to have to understand This is not going to be an easy sell. These people better get ready, because if John's there, it's going to be bad. And God knows, hopefully not. But if we try to extract things that this membership and these retirees deserve, it's going to be a battle. Make no mistake about it, folks. It's going to be a battle. And that's all I got to say.
Well, Tony, thanks. That's some excellent input. And the fire and the passion that all three of you union brothers have shown here tonight is something that I believe is lacking. Look, I'm not saying anything bad about anybody in the current administration, but their contract negotiations speak for themselves. You know, we have not seen anything in 2008. I went through the plant closing in 08 and 09. I remember all that. And the most frustrating thing is that when we took those concessionary contracts, we did so knowing that it was a temporary thing, that when the companies got well, they started making their money again, in good conscience, they would repay us for what we've done. And they didn't. So it's time to get people elected that are going to go up and start fighting for us. And you and John and Rich, not in that order, but you guys are the ones to get it done. And that's why I'm on board. That's why we're trying to get the word out and hosting these table talk meetings. You know, and I'm not going to talk much more because it's not about me, but you touched on the convention and getting delegates that are going to go to the convention. John touched on it as well. Would one of you three like to address the importance of having delegates go to that convention and vote for the future of this union by voting for the retirees and giving them an opportunity to run and take this union back to where it should be? John?
John, can I go ahead?
Let me just say something real quick here. What the question we're asking each other, we all have this passion inside of us to change things. That's why we're trying to do this. This is not easy for us. You know, I'm only trying to say that what you have to do is you got to evaluate where are we in regards to the talent that we need to make this union be what it's supposed to be. I mean, I have been privileged enough to sit at a bargaining table with 5 different presidents of the UAW. 5 of them. I don't know if anybody's ever had that privilege. I mean, I went all the way up the ladder with them. I had the opportunity to be with Owen and naturally after that, Steve Yokich and Ron Getterfinger and Bob King and Dennis Williams. Thank God I didn't have a chance to be with Gary Jones. But anyway, the question is now, where is this union headed for in the future? Is it going to survive like we are mentioning? This was a union that stood tall at the bargaining table, and I can tell you from the experience, they thought we were a union of business. We got the respect when we went to the table. I mean, when I concluded a number of negotiations, there had negotiators come up and said, there's one thing we can say about the UAW. They're a union of business for their membership. They negotiate comprehensive agreements that include the young, the in-between, the future, and the retirees. And that's the way we negotiate. There was a piece of pie for everybody. We got future retirees going out the door, so we negotiate future retirements for them. We have retirees that were out the door, we negotiate enhanced inflationary rate for them and the Christmas bonus. For the new ones, we improve COLA costs. We get GWIs. We didn't have 2 tiers. We didn't have, everybody had a defined pension. Everybody had healthcare. Now the question you got to say to yourself, and it's not an easy question to answer because you got to find them. Is there anybody in this union today can meet them qualifiers? Is there anybody today can meet them qualifiers? Do we have anybody in that Solidarity House today that can do what I just said? Go to a bargaining table and negotiate a comprehensive agreement for the entire membership? The answer is no. Because if we did, we'd have seen it already. And this membership knows it. And that's why you're seeing 90% rejection, 79% rejections. Now, can we do it? I'll be honest as hell with you. I don't know. I've had the opportunity to do it before, and I was successful. I would get a team that I told this team that we're working together is, this is not about a retiree. This is about the future of the union. Are we going to get these younger people not only involved in being delegates and supporting us, are they ever going to get involved enough to want to be a leader in this union? We grew up as union people. My whole family was union. It wasn't hard for me to get involved. I heard about it 6 days a week at the supper table. I grew up in this, loving it. But I loved it for the reason that I had the opportunity to make it better. And that's what we got to look for now. Can we make it better? We believe we can. Will it be easy? Nothing's going to be easy the way we're in this situation now. Think about what we gave up. 2009, they took it all. They started in 2007 and worked it all the way up. And here we are today. We're saying we want tiers gone. We're saying we want COLA back. We want defined pension back. We want insurance back. We want future retirees to get increases in their pension when they go out the door. We want the current retirees to get a decent piece in the enhanced inflation rate, which they should. The question is, you didn't get it all in one negotiations. You got it in a period over years and years, but they took it all away in one negotiations. Hear what I said?
Hey, Glenn, I want to talk to the delegates. I want to speak to the question on the delegates. Okay, first of all, the delegates going to the convention. I've been to numerous conventions. This is probably going to be the biggest one that I've been to, other than when they merged Region 2B with Region 2, when Steve did that. I was at that convention. The delegates that are going to this convention, we need to somehow reach out to them, all of us, and explain to them that they have to reach within their own self and quit worrying about holding on to their positions, quit worrying about being promised positions, and do what they're supposed to do for these people. Because the membership, in a minute, we're not going to have to worry about having delegates. They have an obligation to the people they represent to look out for their futures. And by only worried about, I promise you, if you do this, I'm going to put you on staff. Hey, we'll take you out the region. Hey, we'll give you an appointment in the plant. And that's what the games that are being played right now. The delegates, if never more important than now, have to do what they're being elected to do. Go to this convention, make the decisions that are for the whole, not themselves. They've got to really reach down inside and believe in the people they represent and not worry about themselves, because too many delegates, they get the phone call, they get the pat on the back, they get the, hey, we're going to do this, hey, we're going to do that. And 99% of that is bullshit. And once we get out of the convention, nothing changes. The IEB board gets the same thing that they've always wanted. Then the delegate goes back to the plant and he's all pissed off. Well, what did you think was going to happen? You were put in these positions by the people around you to do what's in the best interest of them, for them, not yourself. And somehow, all of us here, when we talk to the people in our plants that are running for delegate, we need to vet them and make sure they understand that they're looking out for the future of this union. It's not now, it's tomorrow. What we're doing at this convention is going to shape tomorrow. And for years past, because we're, like Tony said, we're about to lose it all. We're very, very close with right to work, with all the anti-unions, with Stellantis being owned by foreign company entities that don't give a shit about the American people. If we don't go to this convention and make a stand here, we're going to be in trouble. And the delegates don't need to go down there and go down there simply so they can get out of the plant for a week and sit out in the hallway and bullshit for hours on end. They need to sit in the conference. They need to pay attention to what's being said. They need to go to the mic and voice their opinions. And whenever there's a vote that has to that's a critical vote comes up, somebody has to call for a roll call vote. Somebody's got to go to the mic and say, I want a roll call vote. Because the yays and nays, you will lose every time. Every time. So it's very important that whomever, you got the UAWD on this side, you got Jim Coakley on that side. We don't know who the General Motors folks are, nor the Ford, but somehow all the people from the outside, we have to get together with one agenda. We go to the convention, we open the floor for the retirees to have the right to run. We open the floor for the delegates to make this international union be held accountable to this membership. Because if they win this overwhelmingly, you still want to talk about arrogance? Ha! You're going to see arrogance. You're going to see it real sharp. And that's just my thought. We have to make sure that the delegates that we elect, we're not doing it because they're my friend. There's the benefits rep. They're the committeeman over here in the corner. I go to the bar with the guy over here. No, we got to get the people to understand what this is all about, because this is critical. Very, very, very critical. That's my opinion.
I think we can say now, we've just about done or said as much as we can say about what's needed from our membership through the delegates. I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about what's going on, but that's not going to solve anything. Let's talk in here. We got to have people involved, and if they involved, we got a chance to do something for this union. If they're not involved, then we don't. And I think we all described it. So
the message to anyone that sees this video, watches it, go back in your plant and talk about it. We'll be having more of these and we'll open them up for questions, but go out, talk about it, and run for delegate. And when you win and you go to the convention, make sure you support the future of this union by voting to approve retirees to be able to run and vote in these elections.
Glenn, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Just real quick. If this union cared about, and I don't want to keep harping on retirees, but I got to get this out. If they truly cared about the people who built this union, they would have never, ever would have let the company extract the benefit reps from the closed plant locations. Never should have happened. Never. Now, people out of St. Louis got to go 300 to 400 miles away to benefit reps in Kokomo. And no disrespect, I understand they do a fine job, but that's not how this should have worked. They should never, ever, when they went in negotiations in 2019, let the company extract a benefit rep from the retirees from closed plants. I mean, that should have never happened. Never. But does this union really care? I'll ask you, do you think they care?
No, Tony, it doesn't seem like it. Their contracts and the way things have gone for the UAW for the last 10 or 12 years, 14 years, are proof of what's going on. It doesn't matter what I think. The proof is in the contracts that they've negotiated.
Exactly. I mean, in 2009, we went through the concessionary agreement and everybody fully understands all that. And then saying that, we've been to 3 sets of different negotiations and nothing, damn near nothing that was given up has ever been brought back to this membership. Nothing.
Right.
I mean, what? I just don't understand where their heads are at. I
Well,
just don't
gentlemen,
get it.
no, I don't either, Tony. And the only way we're going to find out is to get people in that'll listen from the bottom up. That's the only way. So what we're going to have to do is start to get ready to wrap this up. We will do more of these calls. Hopefully people will share the message. They'll get out. They'll talk about it. They'll talk about the candidates. And John needs the tough questions. He needs to know what's most important to you, because we can't fix it. John can't fix it if he don't know what's going on. So we need people to.
John can't fix it. John can't fix it if the delegates don't give me an opportunity to fix it. That's how simple this is.
Correct. That's right. So we've got Facebook group, Team Guinan. Look it up. we've got a email and I never get it right. So UAW, the number 4, jg@gmail.com. So email us your questions, email us your comments. We're going to do this. We need the delegates to get on board. We need the delegates to vote. And that's the way of the world now. You know, with the elimination of the middle class, it's really tough on this younger generation. So we need people that have been down these roads, have fought these fights, to step up, sit down at the table and negotiate good contracts for this younger generation. And Team Guinan is the team to do that. John,
Well,
thank you for coming
Glenn, I
on.
want to thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
We'll do it again. Brothers and sisters, anybody that's watching this or is going to watch it, get the message out. Get the message out. Let's get on board with Team Guinan and push this thing to victory so the union can survive. John, thank you. Rich, Boyer, thank you. Tony Candela, thank you. Thank everybody that was on the show tonight. Guys, we're going to do it, but right now we're going to call it a night. Thanks.
Good night,
everybody.
all.
Okay,
Good night,
thanks,
Glenn.
Glenn.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks.
Solidarity.
Good night, everybody.